The first thing I learned about the Vulpine wasn't in a handbook. It was in the hallway outside my new dorm room, when a tail tipped like a question mark brushed my wrist and left my skin buzzing. I had come to the Institute of Interbeing Studies to trade knowledge, linguistics for a semester on Lura 3, a blue-lit world with 3 low moons and a sky like frosted glass. I hadn't come to lose my words to a stranger's smile. She stood with one hand on the doorframe, eyes bright gold, ears pricked. "You're Eli," she said, tasting the vowels. "I'm Vesa. We share a room. You smell like rain." I had come prepared for cultural differences, but not for compliments delivered like ambushes. "Thanks," I managed. Rain was good, I guessed. On Vulpine worlds, scent meant vocabulary. Our dorm was a narrow rectangle with bunk alcoves, a tiny kitchenette, and a window the size of a painting framing the distant towers of the campus. Vesa rolled her suitcase with a spiraling cord of ribbons tied to the handle, amber, green, silver, then stacked it beneath her bunk, hopped up, and grinned at me upside down. "We'll set ground rules," she said. "And I'll flirt with you if you let me." I pretended to cough. "Is that a rule?" "It's an offer," she said, serious now. "We name things clearly here." That first night we traded small things. I showed her how to brew real coffee. She taught me to keep the window cracked so our room's air would carry our day's stories. As stew simmered, Vesa ghosted by me to reach a bowl, and her tail, soft, mischievous, sketch-marked my forearm. The handbook had warned me that tail contact could be an expression of interest. It had not warned me how warmth can linger or how time can fracture into before and after a brush of fur. In class we diagrammed scent lexicons and studied the old treaties that built the exchange program. Vesa sat beside me, attentive until I spoke. Then her mouth tilted in a way that said she was listening to words and to the person saying them. She favored candied citrus scents when pleased and a cedar resin thread when something mattered. I learned that a Vulpine flirtation was a dialogue in 3 registers: words, eyes, and air. A week in, I made my first mistake. It rained hard, and Vesa hadn't brought her cloak. We were 2 stops from campus on the Maglev when the storm turned mean, lightning stepping along the rails. I shrugged off my jacket and draped it over her shoulders, a human gesture of courtesy. The next morning, 3 students I hardly knew nodded at me with suppressed laughter, and a 4th said, "Bold move, Earthboy." Scent vow on day 5. I found Vesa in the kitchen, braiding her ribbons into her hair. Did the jacket mean something? It can. She caught my panic and softened. You offered your scent to carry her home. That is step 2 in a courtship you didn't know you'd begun. Don't look like that. I'll undo it if you want. I don't want. The heat in my face surprised me. I just don't want to get you in trouble. Or me. Vesa's ears angled forward. Then accept this, I liked it. Your kindness, not the rumor. Rumors are wind. Kindness is weather. She paused, then added, almost tentative. I can stop. Flirting, I mean. I shook my head. It's not unwanted. I'm just human slow. Her smile returned, smaller and brighter. Human slow I can honor. The night of 3 moons arrived with glow ink and woven lights. Students spilled into the plaza, tails painted with luminous patterns, braids threaded with ribbons. Vesa tugged my sleeve. Come. It's easier to explain a heart while moving. We walked among lanterns that swayed like fruit, past vendors frying dough that crackled with sugar. She sketched meanings in the air. Curiosity was a light, quick flick. Respect was a tail coiled loosely at your side. Affection was a circle drawn around the wrist you used to hold tools. When I asked what desire was, she peered at me and traced a line from my elbow to my palm and didn't finish it. The power flickered. A ripple passed through the crowd. A collective intake of breath, and then the lights failed entirely except for the paint on our skin and the moons above. Someone shouted about a grid fault down by the Maglev tunnel. Emergency beacons blinked to life along the plaza's edge, pulsing in a slow, steady heartbeat. Vesa caught my hand without thinking. "Underground," she said. "We can help." We joined a stream of students heading for the tunnel. A train had stalled in the throat of the station. Doors were stuck and the air was going stale. I knew the Maglev systems well enough to be dangerous, but no one else seemed better suited. I knelt at a maintenance panel while Vesa crouched beside me, translating the metallic tales the machine was telling her nose. Ozone, copper, overheated polymer. "The release is jammed," I murmured. "If I crosswire here, the doors will pop. But we'll kill the lights." "Do it," she said. "We're painted." Darkness took the platform like a curtain falling. Our glow ink drew crisp constellations on our skin. The doors clicked, then hissed and air moved. Voices poured out. Fearful, grateful, relieved. Vesa pressed her forehead to mine. A Vulpine gesture I recognized now as trust. "You did well," she said, breath gusting blue against my cheek because of the paint. We stayed that way a beat too long for friends or a beat exactly right for something else. When the authorities took over, we drifted back into the night. The plaza's lanterns rekindled in cautious sequence. Vesa tugged me behind a pillar where the new light didn't quite reach. "We have a word," she said, "for when flirting becomes a path instead of a game." 3 sparks. Notice, trust, ask. "I noticed," I said, swallowing. "Days ago. Against my plans. And now trust." She lifted my hand and set it on her shoulder where the paint traced delicate loops. We shared breath in the dark. Her tail curled loosely around my wrist and then loosened. An offering, not a claim. "Ask, then." I could hear the music returning, a steady, human-friendly beat. "Will you keep flirting with me, Vesa?" Sounded foolish and exactly right. Slow. In my language and yours. She laughed softly, like glass tapped with a fingernail. "Yes, Eli." Slow is still forward. Morning brought a different kind of light. Adine sent a message about rumors of impropriety, and we sat side by side in an office that smelled like scrubbed metal and flowers too polite to be real. Vesa explained the jacket, the festival, the tunnel. I explained cultural ignorance and the corrective power of learning. The dean, to their credit, listened. "Exchange programs exist," they said finally. "For exchanges. Keep the campus safe. Keep each other kinder than the rumor mill." Dismissed. Back in our room, Vesa lifted the amber ribbon from her hair and pressed it into my palm. "Borrow this," she said. "Only for a day." I tied it around my wrist, feeling ridiculous and honored. She stepped closer, tail drawing that same half line along my forearm, then hovering, waiting. "I'll finish it when we both mean it," I said. "And we will," she replied, ears easing backward in contentment. Weeks turned into a rhythm I could live inside. We studied. We cooked. We navigated the campus together like a pair of maps. Her scent, my words. She teased, but it was measured now. Each flirtation a bead placed on a string we were both holding. Sometimes at night we sat by the huge window and watched the 3 moons scissor their reflections on the towers.